In this video, we are going to talk about 10 poorest countries in the world. The world has enough wealth and resources to give everyone a decent life. Burundi, South Sudan, and Somalia are the world's 3 poorest countries. Here are 10 poorest countries in the world. So let's start. Number 10. Madagascar. Madagascar is the world's 4th largest island, 400 kilometers off East Africa. Wildlife tourism hasn't lifted the country out of poverty despite its popularity. The country's economy is especially sensitive to weather-related disasters because the bulk of the population depends on agriculture. Madagascar has had political instability, violent coups, and disputed elections since 1960. Madagascar is finally improving. Presidents Andry Rajoelina and Eri Rajoelina made poverty alleviation and infrastructure development objectives. Stable growth, structural reforms, and returning foreign investors. Last year was different. COVID-19, according to the World Bank, caused a significant recession that affected tourism and industries hard. The pandemic undermined fiscal resources for essential investments and social programs, delaying inclusive growth. Number 9. Liberia. Africa's oldest republic has always been among the poorest. Since the end of the civil war in 2003, the country has experienced peace and stability, but its governments have failed to solve systemic and structural problems. This country of 5 million has suffered from low commodity prices and the 2014 Ebola epidemic in West Africa. When George Weah became president in 2018, expectations were high. Inflation, unemployment, and poor economic growth tarnished his administration. COVID-19 will throw a long shadow on the nation's future, notwithstanding a partial recovery. Things may be improving. Liberia's GDP expanded 3.5% in 2021 and will grow 4.7% in 2022. Number 8. Malawi. Malawi, one of Africa's smallest states, has improved economic growth and implemented structural changes. Poverty is still widespread, and the country's economy is subject to weather-related shocks. While urban living conditions are increasing, rural food insecurity is high. Malawi has maintained stable governments since independence in 1964. Disputed poll results aren't rare. The country's constitutional court nullified former President Peter Mutharika's poll triumph in 2020, claiming vote rigging. Lazarus Chakwera, who replaced him, promised leadership that makes everyone succeed. The pandemic slowed the country's GDP to 0.6% from 4.5% a year earlier. Number 7. Niger. Niger is threatened by desertification and climate change due to the Sahara Desert covering 80% of its landlocked area and a rapidly rising population dependent on small-scale agriculture. Food insecurity, sickness, and mortality rates are severe, and the army's clashes with Boko Haram have uprooted hundreds. The mining of precious natural resources like gold and uranium has been hampered by low commodity prices. The largest West African nation has entered a new political and economic transformation phase. Niger, which gained independence from France in 1960, declared opposition leader Mahamadou Issoufou president in 2011. Since then, a new investment code, improved credit and speedier water availability have boosted foreign direct investment. When Issoufou stepped down this year after 2 5-year terms, after a failed military coup, Niger inaugurated its first democratically elected president, Mohamed Bazoum. Despite a low number of instances, the country's GDP gained 1.2% last year. IMF forecasts growth of 7% in 2021. The country's GDP grew by 5.3% in 2021 and is forecast to rise by 10% by 2023. Number 6. Mozambique. Former Portuguese colony offers abundant arable land, water, energy, and minerals. Mozambique is strategically located, as 4 of the 6 countries it borders are landlocked and depend on it for global trade. Over the past decade, it has often posted average GDP growth rates of over 7%. It remains one of the world's 10 poorest countries, with huge portions of the population living below the poverty line. A 15-year civil war ended in 1992, but climatic change, corruption, and political instability persisted. Since 2017, Islamic insurgents have attacked the gas-rich north of the country, killing 4,000 and displacing 800,000. When French company Total SA secured $15.8 billion in funding for a liquefied natural gas facility in 2020, many hoped it would mark a new beginning. After repeated losses owing to violent attacks in the area, the corporation declared in April 2021 that it would cease operations forever, depriving the government of much-needed money. Number 5. Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. Congo has faced decades of predatory authoritarianism, political instability, and violence since 1960. Félix Antoine Tshisekedi Tshilombo, son of Etienne Tshisekedi, was elected president in 2019. He has overwhelming tasks. Joseph Kabila, who succeeded his killed father in 2001, is credited with ending the Great African War, which claimed up to 6 million deaths from fighting, disease, and famine. Over 60% of the country's 92 million inhabitants still live on less than $2 a day. A fresh release of financial data demonstrates how he embezzled $138 million while in power. 60% of the country's 92 million people live on less than $2 per day. Number 4. Central African Republic. Central African Republic is rich in gold, oil, uranium, and diamonds, yet its people are destitute. After being the world's poorest for a decade, this country of 4.8 million is making progress. Central African Republic democratically elected a president for the first time since independence from France in 1960. Former math professor and Prime Minister Faustin Archange Touadéra campaigned as a peacemaker who could bridge the Muslim minority and Christian majority. While his victory was considered as a step towards national restoration, vast swaths of the country remain under anti-government and militia control. When Touadéra won a second term in December, rebel forces backed by François Bozize tried to seize control. Despite challenges and accidents, growth has picked up in recent years, spurred by the forestry industry and agricultural and mining sectors. The economy also benefits from the partially restored sale of diamonds, which were embargoed in 2013 for backing interreligious armed groups. Number 3. Somalia. This country of 16 million on the Horn of Africa never seems to get a break. Anticipated GDP increase of over 3% in 2020 was interrupted by the compounded effect of the coronavirus pandemic, an infestation of locusts unmatched in modern times and exacerbated floods, which caused the economy to collapse by 1.5%. Yet, the World Bank believes Somalia could have a brighter future. Rapid urbanization, increased use of digital technologies, planned investments in areas such as energy, ports, education and health can promote economic growth and job creation. A precarious recovery is already starting, and the administration has pledged its commitment to charting a road toward better resilience and prosperity. Number 2. South Sudan. The newest nation is South Sudan. It was born on July 9, 2011, 6 years after the Sudanese civil war concluded. Violence has ravaged this 11 million-person landlocked state. In 2013, President Salva Kiir accused his former deputy, rebel leader Riek Machar, of conducting a coup in the 10 southernmost Sudanese regions. As a result, almost 4 million people have been internally displaced or fled to neighboring nations. Number 1. Burundi. Burundi, ravaged by Hutu-Tutsi ethnic conflict and civil violence, tops the world's poverty index. With 90% of its 12 million citizens relying on subsistence agriculture, and most living on $1.25 a day or less, food scarcity is a major concern. Food insecurity is almost twice as high as the sub-Saharan African average. Access to water, sanitation, and electricity is also low. Pandemic has worsened all these concerns. US and EU eased financial sanctions imposed during 2015's political upheaval and restarted funding to Burundi. Is this a turning point for the world's poorest nation? What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.